What up, gamers? Fencer here, and welcome back to Shadowverse. So last time we did Seeds of Conflict Sowing, and in this video we'll be doing the last special story here, which is the Guild War Reconstruction, which I'm guessing is them rebuilding Isunia. Almost forgot the name there for a second. But yeah, 3 chapters, so I'm guessing it'll also be around the same length as the previous one. But yeah, we'll be doing ebbs and flows, with bubbles beneath and drops of shimmering dew. So ebbs and flows. Peace has been restored to Isunia, thanks to the efforts of Arisa and her fellow interdimensional travelers. Reconstruction is well underway, and the people are working to move forward. However, on the day of the guild assembly, things go awry. Let's go and see what's happening with these guilds here. Here we
If
go.
peace can be defined by a lack of conflict, then perhaps the Isunia of old was peaceful.
Is that Cetus?
There was the usual bickering between
It's been
the
a while.
5 guilds. For most of the citizens, though, the land of shimmering dew and guilds was good to them. What more could they ask for?
You know, when it came to Isunia here, I think maybe other than the introduction of Ewan and the Keepers, I feel like that's when the story started to get really, really good, in my opinion. I feel like that's when the story really began, when it comes to things that felt very important.
I was no different. There was once someone precious to me. Every day I could spend by her side was dear to my heart.
Because like in that first world, I already forgot what the what the world or land was called. I think they said it in the oh yeah, Alistair. In Alistair, I did not really care for their backstories that much. At least, compared to the later stories. But yeah, I feel like this is where it really felt like the story takes off
But our contentment
in
was a
Isunia.
fragile house of cards. And when the flames of war engulfed the land, it went up in smoke all too easily. Maisha LaForge. She wrought disaster, the likes of which Isunia had never experienced. After the dust settled, tales rose of how a hero, wielding a sword of justice, pierced the darkness and ushered in a new era. The relationships between the people and the guilds are shifting. Everyone is working together to move forward, and yet, it feels like I'm trapped in time. I can still feel the flesh of the would-be hero giving way beneath my blade. Yes, these hands may have saved the world, but... There's no end to them.
Don't get me wrong, I love a good party, but these guests have overstayed their welcome. What do you say, Marshal?
I'm ready to show them the door. Give me some good news.
Third squad in the eastern sector has dispatched 57 life forms. The fourth in the west is at 49, and here in the city center, the first's taking care of 83. In other words, this party's raging out of control. We've also got our hands full evacuating the citizens. Even with all hands on deck, we're spread pretty thin.
And yet, you're still holding the line. What would this hapless new marshal do without your support?
It's the other way around, Cetus. You're the only one who could have brought us together after what went down. Everyone knows that.
Looks like we're done here. Let's keep moving.
I wonder how long it's been since Arisa left, because it still feels kind of fresh.
You got it. Lead the way, Marshal. The guild assembly is today, isn't it? These magical life forms sure picked a great time to show up.
Like, I feel like with these magical life forms, I'm guessing they're like aftermaths. Like, they came pretty much after the whole war thing that went on.
We're right down to the wire thanks to these blighters. The streets are clogged, and the gondolas are out of service. Though if push comes to shove, I guess you can just chop your way through and still be on time for the meeting, huh?
But I'd be a lousy excuse for a marshal if I left you to clean everything up by yourself. There's still more than enough time to set things to rights here.
We could even round some of these up and bring them as a souvenir to the meeting. The guild assembly wasn't functional for years until recently. Back in the early days, the guilds would
said
meet
something
to go
about
over
jelly.
issues and plot out Asunia's future together. Today's agenda is about tidying up, isn't it? Sounds about right, considering we're in the middle of reconstruction. Man, if we had a leaderboard, the Order of Blade Rights would be smashing it. Actually, I take that back. When it comes to sheer firepower and destructive force, there's someone who can outdo all the guilds put together.
True. He could probably sweep through these life forms in his sleep. Just remember, we serve the people best by working together. That's where our strength lies. In the end, it's the number of people we help that counts.
You know what? You're right. The bigger the mess we clean up, the more brilliantly Asunia will shine.
This would go so much faster if we could somehow gather the life forms in one place and sweep them all up at once. That way, we wouldn't have to run the length and breadth of Isunia chasing after dust bunnies.
To me, that felt like this feels like the job for that one girl. I forgot her name already, but that one mage girl in that mage guild. I don't know. I just thought about like I don't know why. I just thought about Konosuba. Like, yeah, just have them all gather around. Maybe have like the Blade Riders gather them around, and then I don't know if like that one girl. I forgot her name, man, but her title was like the flower, right? Something flower. But yeah, like, what if she has like an ability like Megumin where she could do like a nuke? And then yeah, there you go. Like, have them all group up, and then boom, they're done.
Dust bunnies with teeth, you mean? If we let a single one roam free, they'll do more than just bite ankles. There's gotta be a better way to do this. It's too bad you can't just use those swords, huh? One swing and send these life forms packing in 2 blinks.
Wait, what do you mean those swords? What swords are you talking about? I am not sure.
They could also raise Isunia in 2 blinks. Unsheathing them would destroy far more than they would save.
Oh.
Let sleeping swords lie. They're powerful enough, even as symbols.
Oh, is it the one that I remember there were some swords that Maisha had. Was it Maisha and that one Assassin's Creed looking guy?
And that's why they're under lock and key at HQ. I know. Sorry, I shouldn't have even brought it up.
Because I remember, I think Maisha, when he did, I think the Assassin's Creed guy had it, right? But then Maisha won it from him. I think it's those 2 swords.
The way I see it, the light of the Blade Rights will not be dimmed for the lack of a couple of swords. Isn't that right, Captain?
Well, when you put it that way. Still, even if the guilds no longer need to use threats and coercion to get things done, there are times when carrying a big stick comes in handy. I don't want to throw around names or anything, but it's pretty clear who's behind this jelly swarm.
You don't have to. I'd be surprised if they weren't involved in some way. The only people capable of creating them are the mages of the Magus Covenant. And with the life forms springing up everywhere, the townspeople are getting restless.
I would be too if I woke up swimming in a sea of jelly. What's worse, we haven't heard a peep out of them since the infestation began.
So did this happen after? I mean, I mean, like it's not like the results of the war is what I meant. The guild war stuff. I'm guessing this is like a separate thing.
I mean, I get that lab accidents happen, but leaving us to clean up their mess? Makes me wonder if this isn't one of their perverted experiments and they're gleefully watching the results.
Like, I'm guessing this whole thing is a separate issue, like it's not related to the whole Maisha stuff.
Given their history, I understand your suspicion, but I doubt Magus would pull a stunt like this, especially when Eleanor is supposed to be meeting with the other guild leaders.
That was her name.
No, the Magus Covenant has changed, just as we have. They're not just focused on research and results anymore.
But what if they are? Who else can produce life forms? We both know Eleanor Gloria loves a good show. We also know how much of a sore loser she can be.
Ooh.
This might be one of her experiments. Or she might be trying to divert our attention from something else she's mucked up.
Even if that were the case, I don't think she'd go this far.
I'm just saying it can't hurt to nip things in the bud before someone gets hurt. That's all. I know they changed after the war. And it's true that without Magus, the Order of Blade Rights wouldn't be where it is now. But this is an entirely different issue. They may be trying to turn over a new leaf, but you can't take the researcher out of the mage. They can exercise restraint as a bare minimum, though.
Understood. I'll take your concerns to the Assembly.
I'd appreciate it. I know that negotiating with Eleanor is no walk in the park. All I'm asking is that you try.
I'll see what I can do.
Counter Solari.
Marshall?
Apologies.
Can't believe I still
Something's
remember
come
that
up.
name.
Can you handle
Wait, hold on.
things here on your
I just
own?
realized. Who's leading the Counter Solari? The leader's gone now. I don't think there was like another important figure in the Counter Solari. Or even with Marlone, like who's gonna represent them now? Those two guilds.
Uh-huh. I get it. Guess I'll make myself scarce. Leave the rest of the cleanup to me, sir.
Thanks. You called?
Cetus Law.
I doubt this is a social
Cetus
call.
Law. That's his last
What have
name,
you
Law.
got?
That's pretty cool.
A foreign presence has invaded your keep. Hurry, unless you'd prefer to deploy other methods.
Very well. You have my thanks.
So I'm just guessing they're just working under the Blade Rights now. I kind of forgot the lore behind the whole Counter Solari. I know they've been enemies with the Blade Rights. Aren't they like... I kind of forgot if they're like former... Are they former Blade Rights members? I don't remember. But I know they had some kind of like rivalry. But I guess now, after the whole Guild War stuff, that's been, you know... now they have like no one to lead them.
I'm glad I can count on you and the other officers of the Moon Corps as allies.
We've no need to bear the names of a shattered past. None of us desire to go back to the old ways. We are Leod Black's disciples and comrades, his will given form. We also have a place high in the sky, counter to the sun's light. That is what
Counter
makes us
Solari.
Counter Solari.
Yeah.
Now that I understand the truth of our shared history, it pains me that I can't do more to repay our debts. Go in peace, moon-blessed night. May its light guide you. This is the least I can do to help shoulder the burden. I was too late. It hasn't been that long since I got the message. Our intruder certainly knew what they were doing.
Marshall!
Have you finished cleaning up?
Yeah, for the most part. We also had a helping hand from Escamali and their new praetor. He doesn't mess around.
Escamali, that's the one with the... that's Marlone's guild, right?
I'm more worried about this mess, to be honest. Looks like the burglar had a specific mark in mind. And they found what they came for.
The sword of truth and the sword of lies.
Oh my.
They're both gone.
That's the one that, Maisha had, right? That's actually kind of scary. What the heck? That feels a bit like the story right now feels a bit more dangerous than the previous one with the Seeds of Conflict.
I talked with some members of the 2nd Patrolling HQ.
So what's gonna happen?
Their captain's missing. And the only trace of him is that pool of blood by the door.
Jeez.
Not to sound paranoid, but isn't it weird that the burglar chose this exact time to carry out their heist? We're stretched so thin that the officers hadn't had time to rest. The city is crawling with magical life forms, and now someone breaks through our security and steals those swords?
The assembly is about to meet. If you're finished with cleanup, I'd like you to hold down the fort.
Sir?
Keep what's happened here quiet. I don't want anyone outside of you and the 2nd Squad finding out just yet. It's better not to frighten anyone until we know more. We've only just re-established trust. And the last thing we need is people panicking about the possibility of another war. Your response, Captain?
Understood, sir. Leave everything to me. I'm sure you've got a plan, and you're always thinking of the most just course of action. I know I can trust you on that front. It's just... I'm a little frustrated. Why is all this... Apologies, sir. Allow me to get this off my chest. We'll follow your orders. But don't forget, there's no need to bear every burden alone. We know balancing this stuff doesn't come easily to you. And we want to help. I'm saying this not as your subordinate, but as the friend who entered the Blade Rights together with you.
Thanks. I won't forget your words. I'll also never forget that there are no shortage of burdens that I bear. And they are what keep me standing here.
Alright. So yeah, it's getting a bit dangerous. I'm not even sure what's... I mean, it is 3 stories long, so I'm just kind of curious on how, like, dangerous this might be. Because yeah, getting those 2 swords is kind of scary. Unless it's like a prank or something, then I don't know. But that's a really crazy prank. What bubbles beneath? Isunia citizens and the guilds have their hands full trying to deal with the sudden appearance of the multitude of magical life forms. Okay, so yeah, I think this is a separate issue. They just appeared out of nowhere. Like, it could be the result of the war, but like it's not like I guess known for the source. It could be like, you know, the source could also just be something else entirely. But here we go. Okay. Let's keep going, man.
The toll of the destruction and loss Isunia suffered shook its very foundations. Or, to use Eskamali's terms, it disturbed the balance. Speaking of Eskamali, they lost everything. Their temple, a great many of their acolytes, and their leader. But though fire can destroy, it can also give slumbering seeds life. The seeds Marlone Median sowed with his kindness were watered with cash. The fines they had collected when arbitrating between guilds. A new Eskamali was born. They say the world has a mechanism to heal its own wounds, and this deeply scarred nation is attempting to do the same. Marlone attempted to mediate balance in a godless age. After his passing, a new leader rose to continue his work. How should I describe him? In a nutshell, he's still navigating the choppy waters of social interaction. He's got a long way to go, but no one can deny that he's trying.
Oh, is it? Oh no. I was about to say, is it Nicola? But like, isn't his whole thing that he's like the... I guess he's also a guild as well? Because I know Nicola was also friends with Marlone, right? but I don't think he would count. I mean, maybe it could. The thing is, you know, with the Counter Solari, I guess you could say they're independent. You know, since they don't have a leader, they're just working like under the wishes of Leon. That was his name, right, Leon? So that's why they were working with Cetus there. Like, I thought maybe like Cetus was the new leader or something, but I think it's just more of like the Counter Solari are just working in the name of Leon. But yeah, when it comes to the Escamali though, I thought maybe Nicola would take over, but I don't know, it could be maybe not Nicola. I'm not even sure who would be the leader now.
Where are all these critters coming from?
Please, set your mind at ease. The fully balanced insurance plan you signed up
Dang,
for
man.
the other day will cover any losses that
These
might
characters'
occur.
art, they're so realistic. It's kind of funny, man. Shadowverse, it's like when you look at Rowan and then all the other characters, it's like you got this, you know, realistic art style. And then like all the others look so anime sometimes.
Oh, that's swell.
With,
At
like,
least I'll have an
Isabel, too.
insurance payout to keep me warm when these things swarm me out of house and home.
You're absolutely right. But at least with the payout, you can rebuild again. And
Jeez,
that
she's
peace of
shaking.
mind is exactly what Escamali is offering in these trying times.
You've gotta be kidding me. My shop was supposed to reopen today, but there's no way I'll be getting any rupees out of these slimy customers.
Hey, rupees, that's the currency. Like normally in Shadowverse, right? So I guess it also exists. Is that the Asunia like currency, right? Because I'm guessing other worlds will be using different currencies, but wow, it looks like the currency that we use for opening card packs is from Asunia. Wow.
Never fear, madam. Escamali doesn't just offer financial compensation. Superb after-sales support is also included. We'll do everything we can to get you back on your feet.
You don't say. Then how about doing something about these life forms before they wreck my business?
Surely you jest, madam. We're financiers, not fighters.
I don't like these puddings.
There we go. There's a art that looks a bit more anime. Yeah, they're not puddings.
Hey, back off. Can't you see you're scaring the kid?
Here we go. That's Nicola.
Nah. Taking these creatures out one by one is a pain, especially when the place is crawling with them. Guess I've got no other choice. Done and done. Could have concentrated my firepower a bit more, but whatever works. Still, there's something I can't quite put my finger on. Could it be...
Damn, look at you go, Nicola. I expect no less from the man who sent me flying with one punch.
It's really something, isn't it? Seeing those life forms disappear in the blink of an eye just takes your breath away. Way to go, Nicola!
Thanks? It's not like I did anything special, but I appreciate it. Let me know if you run into any other problems. I'll do what I can.
Oh, Nicola, what would we do without you?
Praise be to our acting praetor. You are the mighty hand that keeps the
Acting.
scales balanced.
So yeah, he is taking over. I guess as the acting one for now. Which means it's probably not going to be forever.
Looks like you had a rough time on your rounds. Take it easy. I'll handle the rest from here. I'm no good with money stuff, but physical labor's no sweat. Oh, and make sure she gets home safe, okay?
Jeez.
Thanks, Nicola. You're the best.
Isn't he, though? We're lucky to have him.
We owe him so much. He volunteered to assume Marlone's duties, and it's thanks to him that Escamali's been able to thrive in this new Isunia.
Definitely. I shudder to think what would happen if we lost him. Huh?
Figures. That's what happens when you miss the most important meal of the day.
You don't have any ore on you, do you?
Not a single nugget. But what are we supposed to do? It's not like any of us could have predicted what kind of day this would turn out to be.
Are you hungry, Nicola?
Nah, it's cool. I don't want to deprive you. But if you don't mind finishing off those life forms over there, that'd be great.
What?
What?
Nicola, you can't just ask a little girl to fight magical creatures.
These ones are a lot weaker than the ones produced by Magus's experiments. They don't seem to be attacking anyone either. Literally, a child could take them down. I took out about 1,000 or so myself, and they were all docile and weak. So I'm pretty sure it's safe.
I wonder what she's gonna do though. Like, how does she destroy like this watery creature thing? Does she just punch water? What does she do?
Did you hear that, everyone?
Does she boil it
Please,
in a pot?
lend us a hand. If Nicola says it's safe, then that's good enough for me. I needed some exercise anyway.
I feel like they should lead by example and not like a child. You know, just to make sure it's safe. What Nicola said.
You can count on me! If I can face Nicola and survive, these critters don't stand a chance!
Good, because I was in a mood. I'll give these slimes what for. Yay! I'll help too! Circle as does life. Bite as does the serpent. Pow!
That ought to take care of our little pest problem. The streets will be cleared in no time. Guess I should get to the guild assembly. Once you've taken care of most of them, see if you can round up the rest. Think of it as a chance to build rapport with the townsfolk. Not everyone can rely on fists or magic. But when it comes to organizing, no one can beat Escamali. Am I right? The good works you and Marlone did for Asunia, being part of that was fun.
Understood. We'll carry out our duties as proud acolytes of Escamali.
Glad to hear it. Don't overwork yourself, though, you hear?
Wait, you should stop by the temple before the assembly. You'll need ore.
Nah, I'm good. I normally wouldn't say no to a meal, but I can't afford to be late this time and throw the other gears out of whack.
Pardon?
See ya.
Nicola, wait!
Looks like things are starting to settle down. The Blade Rights are on the move, too. Things should be wrapped up by the time the meeting's done. Now comes the real challenge. Oh, it's hard to think on an empty stomach. And I could use a nap. It'll work itself out. So long as we're all in this together.
In the aftermath of the conflict, some things managed to recover. Others were born anew. And then there were those that continued their existence unimpeded. The Magus Covenant was officially a neutral party to the conflict smoldering between Counter Solari and the Blade Rights. When the war began, it was Magus that prevented Isunia from becoming Scorched Earth. But the Cosmic Flower, who'd fought behind
Yeah,
the
the Cosmic
scenes,
Flower, that was the
knew
title.
that change was in order. Magus may not have been caught in the flames, but they were not unaffected. The mages, who'd previously labored in secret, began sharing the fruits of their research with the town in the name of reconstruction. They harnessed the magic imbued in the canals. It's thanks to them we've come so far. To the casual observer, the Covenant and Eleanor carry on with their experiments, untouched and unscathed. Whatever Magus is now, it would be foolish to forget what they're capable of. Mages are creatures of curiosity, and from great power and a spirit of inquiry are born great and terrible things.
And responsibility.
Eleanor!
There we go.
Have you found her?
You know, I guess it's when it comes to the amount of characters, like overall, that's still alive. I just realized the cast here that is like remaining is so small. Like it's just Eleanor, Cetus, and Nicola. I never realized just how small the cast was compared to the Seeds of Conflict, where you have so many characters, like so many named characters.
She isn't in her lab either. Oh, where can she be? None of us are responsible for summoning those life forms, but it's a pretty bad look when our leader suddenly goes missing. I don't even want to think about what will happen at the assembly.
Ever since the war, Eleanor's taken an interest in the world outside. She's left a lot of the day-to-day running of the guild to us. But when she moves around so much, our tracking spells can't locate her. Oh, this situation is nothing short of superb!
Our cosmic flower is the epitome of freedom. She's clearly left this trial to us because she's confident we can pass.
Then we'll do her proud. We'll finish up the final preparations for the assembly by the time she gets back. Go where you will, Eleanor. May the pride of Magus go with you.
Blue skies, pristine canals, the flow of magic in the water. Could there be a more perfect day? They say days like this herald propitious omens. While I don't subscribe to superstition, I see no harm in basking in the glory of a beautiful day. Do you? Is that right? Not that you understand what I'm saying. I didn't create you with the ability to converse, did I? Let's see. Analyzing structural mana output, core viability, elemental stability. Yep, it all checks out. Everything's working just the way I designed.
So what are they the cause of it? I don't know. I mean, it looks like she's still experimenting, and that she's, you know, still spawning more of these elemental life forms.
Thanks for helping me with my research. You can go now.
Okay, I guess, you know, after she's done experimenting, she just annihilates them. I guess that's fine. As long as she's cleaning up.
The life forms exhibit herd behavior. When they detect biosignatures different from their own, they approach, though they're not hostile. Their thought processes seem to be in order. Rejoice, my precious creations. You will share in my accolades when my research comes to light. Now for the best part. Let's see what the results look like there, shall we? Well now, this is interesting. No, this isn't right. These are the wrong samples. The ones specifically designed for the townspeople. What are they doing all the way out here? The sample I'm looking for should be right by the riverbed, lying under the surface until it detects a powerful magical signature. I specifically created it to put even my considerable talents to the test. Where did it go?
That's because someone's fished it out already.
Huh?
Too bad for you, I guess. Or should I say, good for you. You know what they say about early birds catching the worm, my dear. And you were a hair too late.
So it would appear. Since I'm here anyway, I'll pick up the you-know-what.
Always a pleasure doing business. Did you bring the goods?
Oh my gosh.
Like you'd let me forget. You're worse than a magpie. Aquafowl tears, dried artemisia leaves, an umbral rat's tail, and a dissertation on otherworldly creatures, namely vampires.
Is that Urias?
These are all precious items any mage would trade a fortune for. Just one could probably buy a castle in the sky.
I never said it'd be cheap. You have no idea how much time and negotiation went into getting what you needed. I even added a little extra just for you. Well, let's take a look-see. Oh, yep, you're all the real deal. I'm especially looking forward to reading this report. Are you sure I can have all of this, though?
Have your wits left you in your dotage? I knew what I was getting into from the moment I heard your conditions. A mage will use whatever means to achieve new heights. Isunia is worth more than rupees or rare magical ingredients.
I have to admit, I didn't think I'd hear that honesty coming from you. Then I'll be upfront with you, too. You've changed, Eleanor Gloria. Never did I imagine that the cosmic flower would deign to put roots down on the ground.
Huh. Are you implying that I've lowered my standards?
Perish the thought. I'm saying that you've bloomed even more beautifully and magnificently than I could have hoped. Here, your purchase.
A little extra, huh? I've never seen a mana stone of a grade like this. It would make an excellent energy source or a very fine piece of jewelry. A priceless item more than worth the trade.
Don't start thinking you've got a bargain yet. You've still got Isunia's future to shape. I'm looking forward to seeing what you and your guild do. Listen to me, Eleanor Gloria. Tradition's all well and good, but clinging to it in the face of change will just drag you under until you're just another piece of debris in the canals. The things that you're striving for are a good start. Isunia needs that momentum if it's going to change for the better. So keep moving forward and don't look back. You faced up to your own inadequacies and turned them into triumphs. It's thanks to bright young stars like you that the rest of us can retire into obscurity.
Words to live by. I'll keep them in mind. You have my gratitude. The last piece has fallen into place. It's nearly time to bring this party to its climax. Plus, I've put up my strongest barriers here for some added insurance. I'll be sure to bring more gifts and stories the next time we meet. Until then, may you continue to bloom in splendor. Archmage Emeritus of the Magus Covenant.
What? Okay, who's this? Like, is she... She sounds very important, even though she's using, like, a generic model. Like, pretty much even the same voice and look of that other NPC that we met as Nicola.
And may you continue to bloom beautifully and only for yourself, Eleanor. You are the future of this land's magic I've long dreamed of.
I don't know if they mentioned this character before, but I guess she's like in the shadows now. Yeah, that felt very like shadowy, like it felt like one of those you know, like shady trades that you would see in the alleys or something. But no, I guess it's more innocent because it's still within the Magus Covenant. Right, the last one here, the magical, what was it? Oh, drops of shimmering dew. The magical life forms are dispatched, but Isunia's woes are far from over, with the blades of truth and lie still missing, Nicola out of commission, and Eleanor's machinations going full steam ahead. No one can predict how the events will play out at the Guild Assembly. Yeah, we'll see. But like I said, like, it does feel,
Nearly there.
for me at least, it feels more fulfilling, more complete, I would say, when it comes to like telling a story that comes after the main one, compared to the Seeds of Conflict, just because, yeah, it is just like 3 characters left. Like, yeah, it's a very small cast, and I felt like so far we've spent a good amount of time with each one of them.
Hey.
Nicola Adele, did you just get here?
Yeah, somehow. The assemblies always make me sleepy, but today's been especially rough.
So I've heard. Thank you for helping to protect the town. It must have taken a lot out of you.
And then some. No time to refuel either, so I'm running on fumes. But I can probably sit through a meeting without falling asleep. I'm surprised to see you here, though. I thought you'd be at the meeting already.
As did I. I was dealing with some missing items. I would have liked to do a thorough search, but it'll have to be put on hold for now.
Uh-huh. Well, the sooner we get this over with, the better. Hey, how's it going? Do you mind if we pass?
Yeah, that's what the Magus Covenant made, right?
You know,
I remember
I've always
that.
thought you two get along. Or at least, it looks that way to me.
He's a decent golem. Definitely easier to understand than beings of flesh and blood.
He certainly has a very gentle gaze.
Ah, Cetus Law, Marshal of the Order of Blade Rights. Nicola Adele, Acting Praetor of Escamali. You are most welcome.
We've come for the assembly. Is Eleanor here?
She's been eagerly awaiting your arrival. If you will follow me, I'll take you to the meeting room. I should also inform you that we mages have received an urgent summons ourselves, so we won't be available during the meeting.
Huh. So in other words, it'll just be the three of us.
We're sorry for the inconvenience. This way.
What do you think, Cetus?
I'm impressed. As flighty as she can get when she's focusing on her research, she does care for those under her command. She probably doesn't want them getting caught up in our discussions. The mages here are like her disciples and her family. It's a kindness she only shows those close to her.
The kindness of mages, huh?
Finally, you've arrived. I was starting to think I'd have to send out a search party.
We'd have gotten here on time if the assembly was at Escamali as usual. But seeing as how it's less of a temple and more of a business hub now...
Blade Right's headquarters isn't built for discussing private matters either. We appreciate you lending your hull to us.
You're sounding more like a politician every day, Cetus. I call this meeting to order. Together, we'll chart a course to a brighter future for Isunia.
Alright, what's up, Gateskeeper?
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just here for the meeting.
Dang, that voice. Wait, who's this now?
There's a lot I want to discuss with you.
Ooh.
I'm glad I made it in time.
Okay, who's this guy? What the heck? Look at him, man. Have you seen his, like, character art before? I'm guessing so. Because his name is, like, generic. Like the Axe Keep.
I thought I took care of all the golems.
Oh, shoot. He took out the other golems, too?
Be a good pile of clay and disappear.
Jeez, okay, what's going on? I mean, this looks pretty bad on Cetus.
You? Get out of here.
I'm glad to see that you're safe, Captain. Does your squad know?
Oh, was that the missing captain? That had like a trail of blood or something?
Thanks to you, they do. I ran into a messenger at the border, but no matter. Everything's falling into place. Once I collect your heads, I'll cash in on my bounty
Oh
and
my.
disappear. Then it's the start of a new life over the border for me.
Is that what passes for a self-introduction among traders? Disappointing, but unsurprising. It isn't uncommon for loyalties to waver in the aftermath of a conflict, and Isunia is still vulnerable while it's rebuilding. I applaud your strength, which is considerable enough to defeat my gatekeepers. However, surely you don't think that will be enough to take on 3 guild leaders?
Yeah, like... I wonder what he's... Oh no, he's the one that stole it. That's probably powerful enough. I was about to say, what is this generic looking guy going... Like, how is he going to defeat them? But I assume he's got the swords.
Cute. Surely you don't think I'd come here without a plan.
Ooh.
Nicola!
There isn't a soul in Isunia who doesn't know how weak you are without your ore, Nicola. You didn't even think to hide that vulnerability. I have to say, it's been fun watching you play at balancing scales. Poor you. Considering how busy you've been stamping out fires, you've had 0 time to eat. But even if you had stopped at Escamali, you would have found your ore supply depleted.
How vexing. It's almost like he's saying we're nothing compared to Nicola. What's that doing here?
Ah, Eleanor Gloria. Thanks for unleashing this deluge of magical life forms. They've been very helpful. The theme of this assembly was tidying up, wasn't it? You've been siphoning the magical residue that's been sullying the canals and turning them into life forms.
So, you've been spying on me. An unmannered thief and a creep. You're not very knightly at all.
Ha, I know most of the life forms are harmless. A good sneeze could wipe them out. But this one's different. It may be made of junk magic used to rebuild Isunia, but when you gather all those bits of stray mana together, well...
What, did he like gather all the magical life forms and he's got like a giant life form?
Even your magic would have a hard time penetrating it, Eleanor. And like a duckling, this precious pet listens to the first being with a large mana signature it touches. I bet you never imagined your failsafe would come back to bite you.
A large mana signature. Powerful enough to stand against even Eleanor's.
Oh, surely you're aware by now, Marshal. It's so obvious. These blades are no good to anyone. Locked away.
So, I guess he used those swords to absorb the magical life forms?
The dual blades of Isunia. The most powerful weapons and magical artifacts in this land. So that's where your certainty comes from. You've collected every source of power you could get your hands on.
Amazing, aren't they? Even sheathed, they ooze raw power. Just thinking of them unleashed makes me shiver.
So, it was power you wanted, but it swallowed you whole in the process.
Oh, don't be like that, Marshal. The only good weapon is the kind you can use. I never understood how you could let the blades of truth and lies just go to waste.
Those blades place a great burden on their wielder. Do you know what that means?
Oh, but I do. Better than you, I'd wager. A sheathed sword is nothing more than a stick. And who's ever going to be afraid of a measly twig? But I was made an offer I can't refuse. These swords will have plenty of opportunity to fulfill their potential. My new compatriots have got a list of enemies a mile long, and I'm itching for some action. The mediocre officer is no more. Today, I will become a hero.
Captain,
A hero?
as a fellow comrade who once sought the ideals of justice, I'm warning, nay, advising you, put down those blades. They will not make a hero of you.
Your bark is bigger than your bite, beast. You don't get it, do you? Your heads are ripe for the taking. You've no idea how much I've wanted this, how long I've been waiting, and now the time has finally come. Blades of truth and lies, mage-slaying life form. We've whet our appetites on small fry long enough. Now's the time for the main dish. What better way to clean up Isunia than to sweep your heads off your necks? Die and become the stepping stones for my glory. What?
You said you destroyed the ore stockpile, which means you hurt the Escamali acolytes. That makes it my job to balance the scales, just as Marlon would have done.
Dang, is he just like motivated now just to keep fighting? Just because he hurt the Escamalis?
Wait, hold up. How are you even moving, much less fighting? You're supposed to be running on empty.
Yeah, I'm sure he's running on just being pissed off at you for hurting the Escamalis.
No, that can't be.
Sorry, Eleanor. I might have taken a bite out of that rock. I hope you didn't need it for anything big.
Oh, okay, never mind. There was a rock around.
You can do whatever you like with it, Nicola Adele. I got that little tea time snack just for you. If you were inclined to more organic repasts, I would have prepared the finest tea and cake. But a gracious host accommodates their guests. And what better treat than a premium grade mana stone packed with energy? Well, are your taste buds weeping with joy?
Seeing as I don't have taste buds, I wouldn't know. But it did hit the spot. I feel like I could go a few hundred rounds now. Thanks. And I'd be an awful guest if I didn't repay your kindness. Leave this to me. Cycle as does life. Bite as does the serpent. Reversal of providence, the bond's inner workings. Not am I now, but the miracle's reversal. What? No. No! My precious life form!
Analysis complete. Just as I theorized, this life form is a magical amalgamation that neutralizes mana without compromising its own structural integrity. An impossible feat if not for a little extra-dimensional help. With that confirmed, I'm now entirely assured of my victory.
You heard her, Captain. Sheer firepower alone won't win the day, but teamwork will always prevail.
The power of friendship.
Something we learned as cadets. Or have you forgotten?
Impossible. This isn't some comic book where friendship and effort win the day. You should be on your knees begging for your pitiful lives. Why aren't you surrendering?
Oh, spare me your theatrics. If you have time to whine, then maybe you should fill that empty head with some actual knowledge. Anyone could have predicted this outcome.
Huh?
An agent from Counter Solari gave me a detailed report, you see. It spoke of a plot to steal certain artifacts and an assassination attempt at the next guild assembly.
Oh wow, so they really expected this.
Your team was conveniently put in charge of guarding Blade Right's HQ. You happened to hear about a life form that could neutralize magic. And Nicola, conceivably the biggest obstacle to your plan, was conveniently running low on fuel. We figured these factors would create the ideal conditions for someone as cowardly and avaricious as you to move. And you played right into our hands, like a consummate stereotype.
And just FYI, but those compatriots you were going to meet up with at the border, they're long gone. Aren't they, Cetus?
Yes. Counter Solari timed it so that they would chase off our dear captain's co-conspirators the moment he set foot into the assembly. They've long escaped over the border by now. Isunia isn't in a position to do more than that right now. All we can do is clean up the messes we have in our own home.
Shut up! Shut up! Do you really think you've won? Have you forgotten that I have the swords? I'll kill you all. Just one swing and you'll be a pile of corpses. The power of the hero resides in these blades. Huh? What the? Why isn't it working? Why aren't you dead?
I told you those swords are a heavy burden. I asked if you knew what bearing them meant, the blade of truth and the blade of lies. Neither of them can be wielded by just anyone. A wielder with single-minded purpose can reshape or destroy worlds with one swing. However, those unwilling to sacrifice everything for their cause can't even unsheath the blade. Instead, the blade consumes them.
Dang. So yeah, they just... I'm sure Cetus knew this already, but I guess he had like... yeah, he had like no chance at the start.
No, 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 I can't. It isn't supposed to go like this. I'm sorry. I take it back. Marshal, please, have mercy.
Good. I'm glad you've seen the light. No one should aspire to be a hero, especially not at the price of their own humanity.
Ah!
That was unexpected. I didn't think you'd stop at just knocking him out. Is this where your justice has led you, Marshal of the Order of Blade Rights?
Justice is far more nuanced than punishing the wicked. It's true that he must answer for his deeds, but at least some of the cause for his discontent lies with me. I will not be his executioner, but I can take responsibility for his actions and use this experience to build the future we all seek. That is my duty as Marshal.
That's fine with me. He did look like he was rethinking his priorities toward the end there. He isn't a total lost cause. And besides, we've gained something from the skirmish too. The townspeople worked together to deal with the magical life forms. They were also able to take a breather from the strain of rebuilding and work out their frustrations.
Precisely. It also solved Magus' junk mana problem, and I was able to extract ample data from the life forms. This wouldn't have been possible in the old Isunia. Not to mention, we were able to haul in a pretty big catch this fishing expedition. It all worked out in the end.
Nicola, Eleanor.
If anything else goes down, give me a holler. I'll be here as a comrade. And as your friend.
And should you ever require the magic and knowledge of our covenant, you need only say the word. I'll be very piqued if you deprive me of any future research opportunities.
You have my word. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm blessed to have such comrades at my side.
Yes, we'll have time for emotional outbursts later. Let's get this meeting started for real this time, shall we? I officially open this session of the Guild Assembly. May we brighten the future of our fair Isunia through cooperation.
When war engulfed Isunia, the false peace that had held the land together crumbled to ash. Many things were lost that day. Irreplaceable memories and loved ones perished. Our wounds are still raw. In spite of all that, Isunia is trying to move forward and achieve true peace.
Then it's settled. The next order of business is rebuilding the waterways.
Not that I disagree with you, but it looks like me and Titus got assigned a lot of the heavy lifting in this plan of yours.
I merely proposed a division of labor catering to your strengths, namely manual labor or other miscellaneous tasks. You should be thanking me for taking the time out of my busy schedule to coordinate everything.
I mean, what can the Magus Covenant do? They're just a bunch of nerds. They can't do that labor. Unless, I don't know, maybe they can do some levitation magic. I don't know if they need to, like, rebuild buildings that way. They can do it like that.
I expect nothing less from the brightest mind in Isunia.
Oh boy.
The clear waters of Isunia lap gently over us all, cleansing our wounded bodies and souls. The world will keep turning. We survived, and now we will thrive. Hand in hand, we will walk toward the future. Each of us is a drop of shimmering dew. Together, we are the canals, the lifeblood that thrums throughout Isunia.
So yeah, there you have it, man. So yeah, that one felt a bit more like, I guess a bit more complete compared to the Seeds of Conflict. I mean, yeah, the story in Seeds of Conflict, it is complete with like with the story that they try to tell. But like when it comes to just seeing them again, like I don't know, I guess because I experienced the Morning Star, or I guess the Missing Star, I mean, that I expect the other stories to be somewhat similar. And I feel like the Guild War was more of that compared to the Seeds of Conflict, in my opinion, because, you know, it was all about Latica and stuff, which was still a good story, but I think the Guild War reconstruction is the kind of story that I want to see, because it felt more, it definitely felt more focused on, you know, on all the characters. Like, they all had, like, an equal amount of screen time, and we got to see them again and, like, what they're up to. And also this little conflict that they had with that one Blades Right captain. But yeah, it did give a sense of danger too. Like, it was kind of scary just seeing the two swords that Maisha had just be in the hands of someone else. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I feel like in a way that could have been like its own big story of its own, where the swords are gone, and then there could be a build-up. They could even make that Blades Right captain and be its own like named character. But no, I think it's still fine with like what they made him out to be, because, you know, in the end, like, it's not like he can do much with the swords, like like use it. Like, he wasn't able to, I guess, sacrifice things just to be able to use it. But overall, I thought that story was pretty good. It definitely what I want to see. And I guess because maybe it works out because it has a smaller cast that is like remaining compared to like the Seeds of Conflict, where pretty much I think everyone lived, right? No one really died here compared to the Guild War, where like 2 people died. But they had a better, I guess they had a better layout if for like a short story like this, where they can utilize everyone compared to the Seeds of Conflict. I know I've been comparing, you know, the Seeds of Conflict a lot. It's just, you know, I feel like the missing star in the Guild War Reconstruction is what I want to see more of. But this was still good overall, like with the Seeds of Conflict. But yeah, guys, that was it for the Guild War Reconstruction. Next time, we'll be resuming the story here, finally, with the last one, the Whispers of Purgation, man. We'll see. I'm guessing that's Nerva and her origins, but we'll see. But yeah, that'll be for now, guys. That's game.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead,